we can, for the sake of time, go ahead and jump in.
All right, we are live and recording.
All right, hello everyone and welcome. Purdue Extension brings you today Resolve to Move More. And we're going to be talking about how to improve your health and well-being with physical activity today. This information is brought to you by two local Purdue Extension educators, Joe Gilreath in Warwick County and myself, Megan Jasperson. I'm the Health and Human Sciences educator in Perry and Spencer counties. And we wanted to let you know that Purdue Extension Health and Human Sciences, our goal is to bring university information to local communities on issues related to food, family, money, and health. And we are here to make your life better. In case you didn't see in the chat box, we are recording today's session for future viewing. So welcome if you're watching online and welcome if you are watching our recording. We thank you for being here today. And we do plan for this to be a really interactive session. So please participate as you feel comfortable and safe doing so. And we did just want to give a big shout out and a thank you to educator Megan Brothers today for being our behind the scenes tech support. Next slide, please. Okay, we just wanted to throw this up and note that Purdue University is an equal opportunity, equal access, and affirmative action institution. So if you do need this program in any alternative format or any accommodations, please contact us directly so we can allow you to fully participate in whatever means is best for you. And if you have joined us for other webinars in our series, we're going on several months of doing these weekly now, and you know that Purdue is a part of a nationwide educational network, and we focus on research, education, and providing resources to communities across the US. And we're going to test your knowledge today. We're just going to throw up a little poll if you're live today to see if anyone knows how many Purdue Extension offices exist in Indiana. So take a moment to submit your answer. All right, looks like we have several responses coming in, and the majority of them are correct. Looks like we have, is this shared on our screen, Megan? Responses? There we go. Okay, 57% of you chose 92, which is correct. That is the correct answer. So along with Health and Human Sciences, we do offer services in all 92 counties in Indiana, in the areas of ag and natural resources, also 4-H and youth development, as well as community development in order to bring practical research-based information to transform lives and livelihoods. So no matter what county you are joining us from today, you can find your local office. And if you're outside of the state, you can always reach out directly to Joe and I for additional information. We are funded through a variety of different mechanisms, and one of the ways that we report to our funders is by providing data and feedback on the programs and services that we offer to our communities. So we just wanted to state up front that there will be a short evaluation at the end of this session, and we would really appreciate if you jump over and complete that survey. So for several reasons, so we can help tell our story and show the value of the work that we are doing, but also so we can help keep our services at no or low cost to the communities that we do serve. And this is anonymous and voluntary. It will only take a couple minutes, and Joe will provide us with a little bit of additional information and following our session on how you can complete that survey. Okay, so jumping into learning objectives, we want to start the day by saying that the information that we provide today is for educational purposes only. It's not intended to replace proper medical advice or guidance. We always recommend that before you start any kind of physical activity program, you consult with your physician. But some of the things that Joe and I are going to be covering today and focusing our time on are, number one, to learn how you can personally increase your physical activity levels. We want to help you identify personal barriers and create an action plan to increase your personal physical activity. We want to help you increase awareness about the role that physical activity plays in disease prevention, and Joe's going to go into some of that as well. And then finally, we are going to do some demonstrating today where we want you to hop in and do it along with us. So we're going to learn some physical activities that can improve your strength, your balance, and your flexibility. And along the way that we really hope that you guys will join us and have some fun while moving and interacting. So this is not really going to be your typical Zoom webinar. We hope you jump right in and come along with us today. All right, so why physical activity? We all know, we have heard, yeah, it's really important to exercise, right? But what is the research behind this? So there's a lot of research that has shown that regular physical activity benefits are not just our physical health, but also our mental health and really every other realm of health. It's all tied together. But specifically, and this is a short list we're providing you with today. I could talk for a whole day about the benefits of physical activity, but some of the main things that we want to highlight is that it can really reduce the risk of developing health conditions such as heart disease, different types of cancer, type 2 diabetes, which is a huge issue in our nation, obesity, as well as osteoporosis, which is very prevalent in women. It can also improve your cardiorespiratory fitness levels, stronger bones and muscles, which is just important for everyday activities, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. It can help lower your blood pressure, control your weight, improve your sleep, provide you with better energy, a boosted self-image. It can help you manage stress, which who doesn't need that these days? And it really helps reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. That's just a short list. And another way that you can look at the benefits of physical activity is to think about how you want to live and how you want to age. Regular physical activity can really improve your ability to do the things that you want to do. It makes everyday activities easier. And as we age, it really goes a long way in helping us stay independent. I'm a previous personal trainer, and one of the things that I always told my clients is that you only get one body in this life. And doing regular physical activity is a great way to take care of it. It's one of the best things that you can do. So now I'm going to turn it over to Joe, who is going to share some additional information with us, and then we'll pop back to me for some demos in a little bit.
Okay, great. Thanks, Megan. So, I mean, how much physical activity should we get? You've probably heard different messages over the years because the experts, based on research, have come up with different recommendations. So the current one I really like because it's about minutes. The American College of Sports Medicine and the Centers for Disease Control both recommend that we get about 150 minutes at least of moderate to intense aerobic activity every week. And so it's a week now, it's not a day. So keep that in mind, 150 minutes minimum during your week. They also add on that they recommend you do strength muscle building activities 2 times a week, incorporating all of your different muscle groups. You should also do flexibility and balance exercises. So what that means is there's 4 types of exercise that we should be getting. And I look at this as a positive thing because it just gives us more options. There's more things we can do. But understanding the 4 different types also are important because they relate to that message of what do you want to do, or why do you want to do physical activity, and how do you want to live your life. So for example, I'm getting older. I want to be able to get up and move around on the ground when I have grandchildren. So to me, flexibility and strength is very important. So we're going to be challenging you several times during the webinar to ask yourself what your why is and what your purpose. Okay. Got to make a quick switch here because I got some background noise. Okay. Can you hear me okay? All right. So asking yourself, how do you want to live, and how do you want to feel? Now I'm having computer problems. I should know this. My computer doesn't like it when I switch to my headphones. Okay. Let's see if I can. Sorry about that. I just lost my notes. Okay. There we go. All right. So the aerobic, I'm back. So the aerobic is important to get your heart rate up, and you should be sweating a little bit. The strength, the flexibility, and balance, you may not be sweating as much and not be getting your heart rate up as much. And you'll see more of what this means when we switch to Megan doing the demos. The next slide is about just a few reminders before you get started. We do want you to consult with your healthcare provider before you start any brand new exercise program. You're going to want to ask, are there any exercises should I avoid, any activities I should modify? Are there any concerns about physical activity based on my personal health conditions? And if they have any particular advice for you before you get started. We also encourage you to take it a step further and ask your doctor about what benefits there are to you in physical activity. And that is influenced by your stage of life, your current health conditions, and also your family history of illnesses and disease. So think about asking your doctor things like, will exercise help prevent me from developing any particular illnesses and conditions? And if so, which ones? Would exercise help me decrease a health condition that I have or maintain one and prevent it from getting worse? You could ask if physical activity could help decrease the amount of medication that you are taking for different conditions. Ask if it would influence your risk for falls. If you have an injury or a planned surgery, you want to ask if exercise would help you in the recovery process, help speed it up, and help get you where you want to be. You should always know your weight, but if you don't, ask your doctor, but also ask, what should my weight be? And what types of exercises would exercise help me obtain that goal? So I'm hoping that people think that those are appropriate questions and good questions to ask your healthcare provider. And I can also say they're really good questions to ask people in your life who do exercise. I find it always curious what people say the benefits they have personally experienced in exercising, and that can be a motivator for us.
And Joe, I think in the switch of your notes and your headphones, we overlooked the specific recommendations for strength, flexibility, and balance. So I don't know if you can pop back.
Yes, thank you for catching that.
You are welcome.
Okay. So we had the 150 minutes of recommended aerobic activity, strength building a couple days a week. And then for flexibility and balance, flexibility, you're going to want to stretch your muscles 2 or more days a week. And when you stretch, you do it to the point of tightness and you hold them for 30 to 60 seconds. It can be simple as the image on the screen of just lifting up your calf and pulling your leg up and holding it as your muscle tightens. For balance activities, again, you start small, usually holding on to something with both hands, then one hand, then standing independent. You would move from holding each position for 15 to 30 seconds. Examples can be as simple as when you're standing, just lift up one of your feet, one of your legs behind you, or walking heel to toe. And more active challenges are where you're doing those for a longer period of time, or in some more intense activities like yoga or exercise classes. And that will all make a little more sense when we get to Megan doing the demos. So back to the additional safety tips, just as you start increasing your activity, do it slowly. Often people, if they overdo it, they might have an injury, or more likely they just feel really sore the next day, and that's not very motivating to continue. So start slow, build up, always have a warm up and a cool down period. It's a good place to put those stretching activities. Hydrate properly with water before and after, and wear appropriate dress and clothing and shoes. And it doesn't mean that you have to go out and buy the latest athletic wear, but wear items that are conducive to movement, especially if you're going to be trying to get activity in throughout your day. If you plan to walk at work, then make sure you have a pair of walking shoes that you can change into. Don't wear clothing that's real heavy or baggy. If you tend to sweat a lot, you might want to try some of the moisture wicking fabrics. And always exercise in sturdy closed-toe shoes. In fact, if you're going to invest in some athletic wear, shoes are a really good place to start. And always listen to your body when you're exercising. I mean, if at any time you experience pain, dizziness, or shortness of breath, you're going to stop. Just stop and back down. So all this information on the benefits and the recommendations and tips is great, but as soon as you hit a roadblock or a barrier, it could all be thrown out the window. So we're going to talk about barriers, or another way to say it is, Megan's going to advance my slide here. What's your excuse? We all have excuses. The polite word is barriers. So let's be honest here. What are the barriers that you face in being active or getting the amount of physical activity that you want to? What gets in the way? So we're going to launch a poll right now, and it's got some options there. Think about which up to 3 are the most common barriers for you. There's no right or wrong answer. It's very individual. But what barriers do you find most likely get in your way of doing physical activity? And you can select up to 3. We'll give it a little bit to collect the results. Keep in mind that it is very individual. So again, there's no right or wrong, and it can also fluctuate at different times of the year or different phases in your life or what's going on in your other areas. So hopefully everybody's had a chance to respond. So Megan, if you want to go ahead and show the results, let's see what we came up with. The choices that we gave you all represent one of the categories of barriers. So lack of energy, lack of time, lack of motivation. So what I'm seeing on the screen is the highest one is lack of time and lack of motivation. Lack of energy was close to. So those 3, 63 to 75%, clearly come to the top of the most common barriers for people: energy, time, motivation. Good to see that nobody's experiencing a lack of social support, not having too much challenges with resources. There's a little bit about obligations, childcare, and some emotional issues. So thanks for sharing, because that is helpful for us, because we have a better idea of what our audience today, where you're kind of at. And because we all want to get moving more and get some more activity, we're going to take a look at each one of these barriers and what kinds of things we can do to problem solve, because they're a reality. So the first one is energy, lack of energy. And so actually lack of energy, time, and motivation are the three top ones that you guys selected. So it's sort of ironic that those were at the top of the list. This was like a random list. So I'm going to share some examples, and then as I'm talking, you can throw any additional ideas into the chat box. So the first one, for lack of energy, you can try sneaking in some activity earlier in the day when your energy level might be higher. You can try moving just for 15 minutes if you're tired, and see if you don't feel any more energized, then stop. But most likely you're going to feel more energized just after a few minutes. Want you to pay attention to your nutrition. Your energy level could be dipping because you've been consuming sugar and caffeine and you're now having a crash from that. So you want to make sure you eat a healthy snack that's like a fruit, a vegetable, or a protein. And when you drink, you want to be drinking water. Did any comments, Megan, come in, ideas on barriers to energy that I didn't mention?
Not for this one.
Okay. So the next one, for time, obviously it involves good time management and often multitasking. So those of you that work during the day, if there's a way to sneak in, incorporate some activity during your workday, during your breaks, and most likely your lunch, that's a great opportunity. I showcased on Friday in a little video how if you prep your lunch and pack it, you don't have to go out to grab something. Saves you 20 to 30 minutes. You can eat your brown bag lunch, and then you've got 15 minutes to go for a walk, or do some of the stretches that you're going to see today. We have one colleague who shared the great tip of exercising at the end of her workday before she went home. So she would stop working, spend 30 minutes exercising at her office off the clock, but before she headed home and had childcare responsibilities. So just doing that once or twice a week can make a difference. If you have children or grandchildren and you're doing lots of extracurricular activities, when you're there with them, is there a way for you to walk or to do some stretching, or even just standing while you're watching games can be better for you than sitting? It's real tempting to run errands when, like, we drop our kids off to something. So keep in mind the importance of consolidating your errands, so that gives you a little more time to do the things that you want to do. If you're watching TV and relaxing at home doing that, there's a way to incorporate stretching. Always have a mat and maybe a strap that you can use on the floor, or a foam roller or an exercise ball, or stick those 5-pound weights next to your chair, and at the commercial breaks, get up and do some things. And then I think we have all found the value of, while we're on webinars or listening to presentations, recordings, if we can walk around, put headphones in and walk around, it's a good way to get some more steps. So you need to be prepared and always have some extra workout clothes or athletic shoes in your car or your office. But if you practice good time management, you can probably find some more blocks of just 15 to 20 minutes. Any other ideas that came in related to time?
Not for this one.
Okay. So moving on to motivation. Yeah, this all sounds good, great ideas, but who's going to get me going? This is where I really want you to revisit your why. And so why do you want to incorporate more activity? What's the purpose for you? And you need to keep telling yourself that. So you practice that positive self-talk versus negative talk. You want to remind yourself. You can put notes up. You can put it on your calendar. Some people get motivated by before and after photos that are just for your eyes only. But if you're wanting to change your weight or your inches or the toning on your body, You may not notice changes, subtle changes, unless you're looking at some photos of yourself. You also want to think about, how do you motivate yourself to do tasks at work or at home? What is successful there, and can you use those strategies with your physical activity? One motivation could be just little reminders, either on your calendar, your computer. Some people set a timer and it tells them every 30 minutes to get up. I don't know if you all noticed that I went dark about a minute ago. That's because I work in an office that has a time sensor light. It used to be annoying to me, but now what I do is every time it goes dark, I'm reminded I need to stand up, not just to turn the light on, but I probably need to stand up and roll my shoulders, move my legs, and I might need to, because I have a standing desk, I might need to put it up. So keep those things in mind for motivation.
And we do
Ideas.
have some chatter in the chat box. Somebody said that this is their biggest issue. It's so hard to stay motivated. And there was a suggestion to have an accountability buddy who checks in every day to make sure that you do the workout, and then vice versa, you can check in on that person too. And yeah, this one's kind of jumping the gun because we're going to be talking sport next. We also have somebody said, Brooke said, I have an issue with when I have motivation, I don't have the time, but when I have the time to do physical activity, I don't have the motivation. So yeah, it can be a hard cycle to try and line both of those up. But like Joe said, if you just kind of revisit your why and remember the reasons that you're doing that, on those days where maybe you're lacking some of that motivation, find what works for you and just stick to that and give yourself those reminders.
Yeah. And thank you for adding that. And motivation is, if you keep reframing and giving yourself positive messages, you might be surprised at how motivating that is versus the negative. So if I say, oh gosh, I didn't get to the gym last night, I was supposed to go, had it on my calendar, I didn't go. That's not motivating. That's like me being critical. I should be saying to myself, I've already gotten 2 classes in this week. I missed last night, but I'm going to try again tomorrow, but I'm glad I was able to go those other 2 times. So positive self-talk can help keep you motivated. And also always asking yourself, if I don't do it, like Brooke, I'll call you out. If you've got the time, but you're not feeling the energy or the motivation, just ask yourself this simple question. Am I going to feel any better if I don't do it? And the answer is probably no, because you're going to feel worse, because you're going to be judgmental on yourself. So find little tricks, little messages that you can tell yourself to motivate. If people are experiencing a lack of social support, that could be along the lines of an accountability buddy or someone in your life to motivate you or go along with you. You just have to look to other resources. Group exercise classes are a great way to just feel supported. I know I like them because when I walk in the room, I look around, there are people from all walks of life, all sizes and shapes, probably there for different reasons, but we're all there. And I just feel good. I feel a sense of community and I feel supported by these people, even though I don't know their name. So moving on to the next barrier, lack of resources. If you feel like finances, money, or you don't have access to equipment to do what you want to do, ask around friends that might have memberships at athletic clubs if they have some guest passes, or you can even go into athletic clubs and ask for a guest pass. It's a great opportunity to try some things out, regardless of if you're going to become a member or not. Some offer financial assistance and scholarships. If you're looking for equipment, really just asking around. If you put a in search of message on your Facebook page or go to Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, you're going to find some unused equipment that someone else is wanting to offload. And of course, there are lots of free online videos for exercise. We do recommend the NIH YouTube videos, a good reliable source for guided exercise. If your barriers are emotional in terms of you don't like how you look, so you're a little embarrassed if you're exercising, you have a poor or low self-image, again, use that positive self-talk. You can't get any better unless you do something. And just look around yourself. Look around and you'll see there are people of all sizes and shapes, and we all are going to feel better if we just do a little bit more activity. If you have the barrier of family obligations, like you have children that you're taking care of and it's hard to exercise, try to do it with them, because kids should be getting exercise and physical activity too. So if you can go outside, maybe when they ride their bike, you can jog. If they move too fast, then you make them jog and you get on the bike. If you're at the playground with them, don't take your phone. Put it away, don't sit on the bench, wear your athletic shoes and move around and do some of the exercises that we introduced today. You can also try to trade off with a neighbor or a partner if you do need childcare. And some fitness centers do provide supervised childcare also. Even if you just do that one time a week, it's better than nothing. So Megan, any more come in?
Megan said in the chat box that my daughter reminds me of our ABC yoga poses every day, and she loves going on walks. So yeah, great way. Just make it a family affair. Include everybody. It's fun. It's more engaging. You have that social. Yeah. I'm surprised. Oftentimes, my daughter is the one that gives me the nudge to get moving as well. So great way to go about it.
Yeah. And those of you that do provide childcare either for your own children or other children, you're probably trying to get them physical activity and being creative on ways to get them moving. So you should be doing it right along. With it cold right now and people indoors more, you might have to do like an indoor obstacle course, but be creative. There's lots of different ways. So really, this is enough of me talking. So let's do some doing. I'm going to turn it back over to Megan now to demo some of the activities. She mentioned she has been a certified personal trainer. She has worked developing exercise programs. She's a great resource. And one reason we wanted to demo these activities live is to have you join in. So, if you can get up and move around, please do so. We want to prove the point that many of these activities can be done in a work or a home setting. They can be done anytime, anywhere, and they can even be done if you're 8.5 months pregnant. Here's Megan.
Okay, so yes, thank you, Joe. As we discussed, there's 4 main categories of physical activity. There's endurance and strength, and then balance and flexibility. A lot of the times we forget about those last 2, balance and flexibility. And I'm going to go a little bit more in depth about each one of these and show you some quick activities that you can easily do wherever, whenever. So if you're at your desk at work right now, that's great. If you're in your living room in your jammies, that's great too. You can just jump in. We'd love for you to join us as we do these. And as I'm moving back and forth between exercises, I ask that you bear with me because I will need to adjust my camera angle so you guys can see the best view of what I'm trying to demonstrate. So I apologize if I forget to mute and there's a little bit of feedback. But let's jump in and talk about this. So we're not actually going to demonstrate any endurance activities today, but like Joe said, these are the activities that are really going to get your heart rate up. These are things like biking, swimming, jogging, shooting hoops in your driveway, hiking, playing tennis, doing housework or yard work. I know some people like to do that power housework and really crank it out. That gets your heart rate up. So anything that's going to increase that heart rate. And if you're just starting off, a really simple endurance activity that we always like to recommend is just brisk walking. This is great for several reasons. It doesn't really cost that much. You can do it with other people and incorporate that social support. You can walk in a variety of places and times and weather. As Joe mentioned earlier in our safety tips portion, you'll always want to make sure that you're wearing proper shoes and socks and avoiding flip-flops. Wear brightly colored clothing if you're going to be out and about and doing this outside. And then walk or talk with somebody. It, again, just makes it a little more fun. And we want to encourage you to always walk in a safe location and take your cell phone as well as a water bottle, because hydration is really important. And always let somebody know where and when you're going to be out and about. And then another quick note on endurance, we want to always mention sun safety as well. When you do your endurance activities outside, we always recommend that you take steps to protect your skin from the sun. We're all about prevention around here. So even in the winter, this is really important. You'll want to make sure to apply some sunscreen, preferably SPF 30 or higher. Before you go out, you can wear a wide-brimmed hat or some sunglasses. And in the summer months, we would encourage you to seek shady areas to walk around and avoid that 10 to 4 time period if you're going to be outside where the UV rays are at their strongest. So that's endurance in a nutshell. If you're not doing any endurance right now, get out and go for a walk. Start simple and build up, like Joe said. Okay, so now we're going to shift into strength. And strength building exercises can make a huge difference. I can't stress that enough. If you are doing these, you're going to have stronger muscles. And if you have stronger muscles, this is going to help you stay more independent and make everyday activities feel easier. Like you said, Joe mentioned that her why is one day she wants to get down on the floor and play with her grandchildren. Doing strength building exercises is going to make that a lot more realistic for her. And everyday activities like getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, carrying groceries in and out. These are things that we do all the time, okay? So keeping your muscles strong can help with your balance as well and prevent falls and prevent bone loss as we age, as long as, and also osteoporosis, as I mentioned before, is an issue that especially affects us ladies as we age. So these should be done at least twice, 2 days per week using alternating muscle groups. And when you are strength training, you should always follow a couple basic rules, not holding your breath, but just breathing regularly through your exercises. And I'll talk through that a little bit when we demo. Starting with no weight at all or very lightweight, and then working up is a good idea. And then you want to make sure that you're never jerking or thrusting your weight, but you're making slow, steady, controlled movements. And you always want to avoid locking out your joints. So you never want to have a straight arm, straight leg. Always want to keep a slight bend in those joints. And like Joe said, enough of me talking. Let's jump into some demos, okay? So we are going to start with an overhead arm raise. And if you are able, I would love for you to join along with me. So for this one, I'm going to scoot myself back a little bit so you can see me better. You can do this seated or standing. You'll just want a nice strong posture and put your feet flat on the floor, shoulder width apart. Now you can do this weighted or without weights. What I'm going to use today are things that I have hanging around my house. These are applesauce jars, okay? You can do this anytime, anywhere with anything. So you're going to start with your weights at your shoulders and your palms facing forward. And we're going to slowly raise our arms up over our heads, keeping your elbows slightly bent. Hold it for 1 second at the top and then slowly lower. And we're going to repeat this 10 times today. So you can just follow along with me. That's rep number 2. And as you're doing these, you'll want to do 10 to 15 reps. You should feel this in your shoulders. And slowly lower back down. That's 3. Notice as I'm up at the top, I'm not locking my joints out. Good, we're halfway done. 6. 7. 8. We've got 2 more reps. Remember, not hold your breath. 9. And last one, up slowly, is 10. Hold and back down. Okay, great job with those ones. And that's a very basic, very simple. We're just going to give you a sample of a few things to do today. The next one I want to do is the toe stand or the calf raise. So I'm going to scoot myself back and shift down here a bit so you guys can see my lower body. What you're going to do for this is stand behind a sturdy chair, a counter, or a couch of some sort. You're going to want to put your feet forward. So if you're doing this with me together, feet forward, shoulder width apart, and hang on to that chair or counter for balance. And we are slowly raising up onto our tiptoes as high as possible, holding that for 1 second, and lowering ourselves back down. We're going to repeat this 10 times today. So do it along with me. Slowly raise up, hold it, and drop back down. Remember, we are breathing normally through these. Make sure that you're not holding your breath. You should feel this in the back of your legs and your calves. As you're doing these, slowly raise up on those tiptoes, holding on for balance. That was 5. We're halfway done. Up and hold. Drop back down. Okay, that's 7. We've got 3 more to go. You guys are doing great. Up and hold for 9. Back down. And last one, up and hold for 10. Okay, good. So those are 2 examples of some basic strength training exercises that you can do. And now I want to move on to balance. We talk about balance, and a lot of the times this one is kind of neglected or forgotten. Balance is really important. It's going to help us conduct those everyday activities like getting up from the floor, walking stairs, doing housework, and getting our daily chores and recreational activities in. And this can really boost your confidence and help you prevent falls. So what we're going to do, this is really important as we age, but it helps for any age for people to do these. So one thing I love about balance activities is that you can do these anytime, anywhere, and as often as you would like. Just start slowly and build up, okay? So I'm going to demo some additional ones. We are going to start, I'm going to scoot myself back again, and we're going to start by standing on 1 foot. So in order to do this one, you're going to hang on and do it with me. Stand behind, again, a chair or a sturdy counter, a couch, whatever's close to you. You can hold on for balance as needed. We're going to do this in 3 phases. I always like to give modifications so you can choose which one works best for you. First, we're going to hang on and stand up. Choose 1 foot to stand on, and we're going to hold this for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and we're going to repeat that on the other side, holding on for balance. Raise up your other leg, and we'll do a 10 count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, for added challenge, we're going to do this round again. If you feel comfortable doing this, you can let go of that sturdy object and just place your hands out to your side and bring a foot up. If you are not comfortable doing this, remember you always can grab onto that chair. So let's try it again for another round. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch legs. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and the last level of added challenge for this is you can do any of these with your eyes closed for an added challenge. So choose which level works for you. We're going to do it 1 more round, and I'm going to not hold on as well as close my eyes, but again, choose what you feel safest doing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and our next balance exercise, we are going to be doing a heel to toe walk. So I'm actually gonna hike to the other side of my living room. So before I do that, I'm gonna give you guys the instructions. It's, again, very much like it sounds. What we're gonna do for the heel to toe walk is just raise our arms up out to our sides, about shoulder width height. Focus your eyes on a spot in front of you, and then we're just gonna place the heel of one foot in front of the toes of the other, and walk so our feet are touching or almost touching as we advance. We're gonna do this for 20 seconds, and then you can flip around and go back. So I'm gonna try to project my voice as I cross the room, but in case you can't hear me, it's pretty much as it sounds. Again, for safety purposes, you can do this next to a counter or a wall if you need to hold on for balance. So I'm gonna actually grab onto my couch and show you guys this next one. Okay, so arms out to your side, and we're walking heel to toe. Just step forward so your toes are touching the heel or almost touching. And this is a great one you can really do anywhere, in your office, in your house, wherever you are. Just a heel to toe walk. Okay, and then normally we would do a few more reps of that and turn around and come back, but for the sake of time, we're just gonna move forward. So those are two really easy balance exercises, and the standing on one foot, you can literally do that anywhere, in the grocery line, in your office, wherever you are. Okay, last but certainly not least is flexibility. It is really, really important. And what is flexibility? Essentially, it's just stretching. Moving more freely is going to make it a lot easier for you to do simple things like reaching down to tie your shoes, or having mobility to look over your shoulder when you're backing your car up out of the driveway. Really simple activities require flexibility. So this should be done, like I said, 2 to 3 times a week after about a 5-minute active warm-up. So this could be any of your cardio activities like walking, bicycling, or even dancing around your living room. And when you are working to improve your flexibility, a couple tips that we think are really good to share with you. You'll want to always stretch after your muscles are warmed up. Don't stretch on cold muscles. And so that can be whether endurance or strength training exercises. You'll want to get that in first. Do not stretch so far that it hurts. Flexibility exercises should not be painful. Remember that you should be breathing normally while you're holding these stretches. Don't hold your breath. And if you're unsure about any particular stretch, you should talk with your doctor before you perform it, or if you're doing something and you feel pain, always stop and ask your doctor about doing that again. So our first flexibility exercise, we are going to focus on our ankles. So I'm going to scoot myself back so you can see me. This is going to be an ankle flexion activity. Okay. For this one, let's sit towards the edge of a sturdy chair. Notice I'm on my dining room chair. I don't have any wheels on this. You want to make sure that you're on something good and sturdy that's not going to move on you. And then we're going to stretch our legs out in front of us. Place your heels on the floor and bend your ankles to point your toes towards you. We're going to hold this for 10 to 30 seconds. I'll give you guys a 10 count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now from this position, let's bend our ankles down and point your toes away from you. We're going to hold this one for 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. That is our ankle flexion that will give you a lot of flexibility and mobility in those feet and ankles. And that is one you would do that exercise and repeat that same hold for 3 to 5 times as you're going through that. And finally, we're going to showcase one more flexibility exercise for you guys today, which is a thigh stretch or a quad stretch. So again, I'm going to scoot back so you have a little bit better angle on me, and I'll show you how we're going to do this one. Okay, so for our thigh stretch, let's stand with our feet shoulder width apart behind a sturdy chair or counter. Hold on for balance with your right hand and bend your left leg back and grab it with your left hand. So same hand should be grabbing your same side foot. Let's keep our knee pointed towards the floor and gently pull your leg until you feel a stretch in your thigh above your knee. I'm going to give you a 10 count. Let's hold it for 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax and switch sides. So we're going to hold on with our opposite hand. Grab your opposite leg. Keep that knee pointed towards the floor. Gently pull your leg until you feel a stretch in that thigh. And here's another 10 count. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right. Hopefully you all were able to do those along with me and got a little sample of what it feels like to just get a pinch of physical activity in. And so now that you've seen and done some of these activities, I don't know if Megan can hop back on and share our PowerPoint. We could pull that back up. We've got a little bit more to talk through before we wrap up. We talked about the benefits. What we want you guys to do now is to set a goal and make an action plan. And think about how much activity do you typically get in a day, how much you want to get. You will want to find a way to track your progress as well. So you can pick a method that's user-friendly and works for you. It might be a log sheet or a calendar, some kind of app on your smartphone or a pedometer. Just remember that all physical activity throughout your day does count towards this. And think about some of the barriers that you identified that we talked through when you're goal setting. And this is just very preliminary what I'm talking through right now. We've placed some handouts online and the link is on the screen in the chat box. We can throw that in there. And you will receive a follow-up email after this webinar that has the link to that along with the survey and access to a certificate of completion if you need to. So there's some more in-depth goal setting exercises that you can do following this. And then on our next slide, we did want to provide you all with some additional resources. The information that we presented today, it's really basic, and there is, of course, a ton more information out there that goes more in depth and has more information. So the resources that are on your screen right now are all reputable. They're research-based sites you can visit for more information. And don't feel like you need to frantically start scribbling these down now because these will be referenced in the follow-up email. And we also want to note that earlier in the pandemic, Joe and I did put together a video on detailing some of these exercises that I just showed you, along with some additional ones. So if you're interested in that, that link is the Be Active Every Day, which is also on your screen and will be provided to you for follow-up as we send that out later. Okay. So at this point, we want to thank you guys so much and remind you that our educational programs are provided to help you live better, and your feedback is really helpful to us in improving the content of the things that we deliver, as well as obtaining funding for us to allow us to deliver our programs at low or no cost. So we would really, really appreciate it if you guys took a few minutes to complete our brief and voluntary anonymous survey. There's information up on the screen for how to access that, and I think Joe placed that in the chat box as well. You can just go to that website and take it online, or you can text that survey code to the number provided. And again, it's short and voluntary, won't take very long, but it would be very, very much appreciated today.
It's also, I'll add, a good way for us to get feedback from all of you on additional program topics that you have. You know, we want to provide our community members with the information that they are looking for. So we are open to ideas for topics in the future. Right now, we've been doing these wellness webinars weekly. We're going to be putting up a reminder of next week's, we're taking a break for Martin Luther King Day. And then on January 25th, the webinar will be Navigating the Diet Maze, because we have heard from people that it's a little confusing, all the different nutritional plans and diets out there, and I want to do this, but I don't know where to start. So we will be delivering that one on January 25th, two of our colleagues. But additional topics we want to hear about as we do our planning for February, March, and April.
Okay, and as always, when I have put our contact information up there, you can always contact either one of us or your local extension educator for additional information and guidance. And at this time, it looks like we have a couple minutes left before we hit the next hour. So we'd like to open it up for any additional questions that you might have. If you do have any, you can place those in the chat